Hey there, Smite fans. Welcome to game number 3 of the European Wildcard. My name is Bart, that's Kret, and we are going to go ahead and get into picks and bans for our third game that Kret and I will be bringing you today. It is the Potato Boys versus SK Gaming. And let's get this bad boy underway here. As you see, the first bans coming out shortly on the side of Potato Boys.
Both of these teams have one win, and the question is, can Potato Boys keep their momentum going? I mean, Coast a little bit weak all throughout the SPL season, so not surprising to see Potato Boys be able to take them. Second seed out of the Challenger beating second seed out of the SPL. But SK Gaming, honestly, they were fifth because someone had to be.
Right. Yeah, they were right in the mix there, but it seemed to be the stronger team of the two coming out of the Pro League, certainly. Giannis and Nuwa, a couple of global mages banned out right away out of the field. Potato Boys banning out, well, what is come to be Maniac's Aphrodite here, taking that away from the solo laner of SK Gaming. But he does still have, plenty of God Pool available, including that Vamana that he played last game. Zhang Kui banned out now against the Potato Boys as well. Our first 4 bans on the board. Potato Boys the first pick overall, and notably, a couple of very strong assassins are here. Mercury and Cirquet available, but they're taking a look at Vulcan as their first overall pick.
I mean, this is Europe, so Vulcan's first pick, I guess.
That's a head scratcher.
Zeros plays a good Vulcan, so maybe they don't want him to have it. I don't know.
They were scared of
Arrow does
Zeros
have a really good Vulcan,
yeah.
too, so this is Europe. Everyone's good at Vulcan. I guess he's first pick worthy
They've
now.
given up the Norse powerhouse duo over here to SK Gaming as they're taking a look at Freya and Thor, and it would be a big surprise to not see these locked in. The only reason you wouldn't see it is in favor of a Ra.
Sure. And I would love to see a Ra on Potato Boys, but I'm not sure. I mean, Arrow is their Vulcan player. I think Proxy can play Vulcan, but Arrow is much better at it.
Yeah.
I don't think Proxy plays Ra, which is weird because
that is
he's
very
a solo
weird
laner. But, Proxy's just a weird guy. He has been
always
in
been
every
that way.
role. I mean, launch tournament, he beat Snipe with Nuwa in the jungle, so...
Very, very early Kumba pickup being looked at as well from Potato Boys here.
Sure.
They're going to go ahead and lock in the Uller, which, did fairly well for Suntouch in the last game. Not a big surprise to see him taken again, and they're going to take their same dual lane, perhaps, if they lock in the Kumba. They will. Very high priority for Kumba Karna. He's just so much better for Duragis than any of the rest of his pool. That,
over Geb.
Yeah, that they'll see him pick him up, but... Geb's going to go the way of SK Gaming. At least that's what it looks like here. And, well, at least for the first 3 picks, SK has really taken Potato Boys to task with this draft. I mean, they are way ahead right now.
By standards. I feel like Potato Boys are like, yo, we're totally winning the drafts right now.
We got everything we wanted.
And, sure.
Ban Nemesis.
Show me, right?
Yeah.
I like the Nemesis ban just because, well, it's a good jungler and there's not too much left. So we'll see what Adapting does end up doing. But the banning out the jungler is definitely good. And so up against SK, it's really mid and solo where the ban's going to go. And the Ra ban does make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. That obviously the Potato Boys don't want to play it,
right?
Right? Like they would have drafted it had they wanted to play
totally.
it. So keep it away from SK. Not deal with that Ra in the solo lane. Force them out to something else. Potato Boys. Well, they are going to have their work cut out for them as SK's going to be taking a look at a Vamana now as well. So that's going to add a lot to their late game presence on top of the Freya, as well as kind of securing that they have the Freya already. You can draft the Vamana safely considering there's no great kind of counters him with Nemesis off the board as well. And Potato Boys are taking a look at an Assassin perhaps to round out their lineup here. Maybe 2 as they look at Cirquet and Mercury.
All right, so Mercury is one of Adapting's best gods. So I got to say it's going in the jungle. Cirquet is something that Proxy has played in the solo lane, and it's on his list of stuff you're not supposed to run in the solo lane that he has successfully run in the solo lane. So I think it's going to be on Proxy, and this is just sort of what he does.
Cirquet versus Vamana in the solo lane, though? What is she really going to bring to the table?
She does do % health damage.
Okay, fair.
And so, I mean, the thing is we often see people sort of mess that up because of how unforgiving her passive actually is, right? Yeah. So like if you hit your Deathbane and then you auto attack, or if you hit your poison and then you auto attack and Deathbane, sounds like it would be a good combo, but you actually just kill your catalyst stacks at rank 1. It doesn't do damage, so you don't get that 10% proc. But if you can somehow combo Last Breath with your poison with your Deathbane, you just take off 20% of their maximum health. Does go through protections, but like it's
it's
huge.
It's pre-mitigated damage, so then it does get mitigated. But I mean, the carry potential on the side of Potato Boys is really, really big. Mercury, Cirquet, Uller, Vulcan, and then just a Duragis to kind of hold it all together. I mean, 45 minutes in.
So
you would normally say the team wins, but they're fighting into Vamana and Freya, who are pretty nasty at that stage of the game also.
I want to say Duragis is one of the most, if not the most, peel-oriented supports in all of competitive Smite.
Okay.
So
that makes sense.
If you're going to pick someone to have 4 carries on his team, I feel like Duragis is the right player for it.
Okay, fair enough.
Because he's going to be able to peel for at least 2 of them.
Right,
And then
right.
the other
Big
two
AoE
can probably
measures,
like run away or
knockups
something.
as well. Yeah, you do have fairly mobile assassins as well.
Sure.
That won't need a lot of peel for
And
themselves.
Serket,
Mercury
I mean,
and the
basically
Serket.
doesn't need any.
Yeah, Serket won't need any. Mercury only really needs to be sprung one time, and then he can get out pretty safely as well. Sun Touch obviously with the leap. It's more kind of the Vulcan that you're going to be looking at. Is like, yeah, he's going to have a hard time dealing with the damage coming out. But let's go ahead and move into game here, ladies and gentlemen, where you see the left side of your screen. Even though it does say Agilitas is the Potato Boys, and they are fighting out the blue side of the map. It's going to be adapting in the jungle. Sun Touch pairing up with Duragis in the dual lane as Uller and Kumba. Proxy QQ will be your solo lane. Serket question mark and Arrow in the mid lane as Vulcan. Their opponents today with those red trunks fighting on the top side of your minimap and the right side of your spectator UI. It is SK Gaming. And, well, it doesn't look like they're going to take the bait as Potato Boys are stacked up on the left side. Let's go ahead and introduce SK. It's Geb and Freya being played by Badger and Reels in the dual lane. Reels, the captain of this team. Zero's in the jungle as Thor. Maniac will be your solo lane Vomina. And finally, it will be the Twig.
Oh, no, Badger.
And Badger has been caught out here. There's the Axel coming through. Oh, he's real extra dead here.
I've seen some dead Badgers before, but not like that.
Yeah,
that's actually cruelty to animals.
He got 5-man there. That's an assist going to everybody except for Uller, who got the kill. And an early gold and experience lead going the way of the Potato Boys.
That's a research kill.
Yeah.
I feel like they're just like, Badger likes to come through here, so let's all stand here and wait. That has to be the research kill, right? Because there's no other reason you would just 5-man there and not do anything.
They come out ahead, 230 XP and 530 gold as well here. And, well, and that early kill does kind of put them in a great position to get some early pressure out on the map, but we're kind of looking at the map here. You guys obviously look at the EU wildcard screen. Potato Boys have fallen back completely into their side of the jungle to try to pick up camps. So watch them when we come back here from the break. You'll see that in the mid lane, both of the camps now currently being contested by SK Gaming. Backside camps going to Potato Boys. And, well, adapting has started out red pot on Mercury as well, so no hog there. They're going to give up both of the mid camps to pick up that early kill. And because of that, your golden XP are basically back to even now.
Yeah, but the dual lane will sort of fly forward ahead as Suntouch and Duragis do the 3-camp start that we saw in their first game. So it's a research kill and a research play, one for each team, and it'll be interesting to see how that does balance out. Arrow in the middle lane does have a little bit of an early level 2, but he's still going to be pressured because Vulcan does not clear as well as...
Agni's Flame Dash is pretty much enough to clear out an entire wave, whereas Arrow's dumping spells left and right to get any kind of positioning in that lane. Let's talk about the right side here, where it is a 2v2 for the moment at least, but there's not a lot of room to work with here if you're the Potato Boys. Basically, a Thor stun is going to spell death for adapting. Proxy can get out of here with a leap, and as you see, he's moving to the backside. They're actually going to pick up adapting. Zero's in some trouble. Damage coming through. Adapting is getting knocked up by Maniacs, clear the path, and they're going to both disengage A-OK there, and you can see Thor, technically classified as an assassin, doesn't have the huge base HP pool to kind of help him out when he was more of the warrior style. So now he's going to move to the backside camp here. Poison is active on him, but Arrow not in a position to contest this. Easy camps for Zeros.
Well, the other thing to mention is that adapting has gone for a red pot start.
Yes.
And the reason you do this is you don't want to run Hand of the Gods. So he is being greedy and playing towards the late game. And we were talking about the late game earlier, but we were making those assumptions off of a single active Mercury.
Sure.
2 active Mercury, and I mean, that's just completely different.
Yeah, it's very hard to deal with. Even we've seen like players that get really far ahead go blinks in this situation here.
Sure.
Where it's like you just go beads blink and you can just get onto a single target. You see it out of mages when they're really far ahead. And you'll see it sometimes out of the assassins as well. So the left side lane, as we haven't talked too much here. Reels does get pinned out, but it's a double banish onto Sun Touch there. And, well, now it's Duragis in a bit of trouble. So he gets chain slowed and the splash damage ticking away. Duragis going to be forced basically out of this lane, at least for the moment, giving a bit of, kind of additional pressure to SK here. Reels has fallen a bit behind in levels. That, of course, due to the way these teams started out. And he's going to grow to the equalizer there now as the wave pushes in towards his tower.
Adapting heading over to the left-hand side, does not have his red buff anymore. His speed buff has already been taken, which is... I mean, at least it didn't go to the enemy team, so that's going for adapting. But still, just not being able to get that speed buff at the 2-minute mark and have it for the mid-camps, I feel like is a very abstract but also definitive weakness of this start.
Yeah, and it slows down his level 3.
Yeah, and his jungle clear.
I'm sorry, it slows down his level 3 and it slows down his level 5. And the level 5, perhaps more important, is generally you want to be hitting level 5 with everybody that's going to contest the mid-camp, and he's not even going to be close.
Well, the other thing is it's also Mercury, so he literally gets physical power from going faster.
That's right. Well, actually, no, he is going to be really close. He's sitting just 3 creeps away from getting this level 5, but I'm not sure if they're going to be able to get the XP onto him in addition to getting
There
in
it
position
is.
for the mid camps. There's the level 5, and he does have the ultimate available. And it looks like Potato Boys will be able to contest this left side, adapting, channeling the ultimate, waiting for someone to turn the corner. Badger's going to be the one that's in sights, but he realizes that there's just too much going down there, and he's not going to have much of an opportunity to contest that. Serket's rotated from the solo lane, but that camp is long gone as Proxy jumps over the wall there. I feel like that one should have probably been communicated.
It probably should have, but I don't think Proxy really loses too much from that rotation. I mean, he's just going to drop a ward anyway, and none of his minions will die. So maybe loses some creeps to tower. We'll use the hog there, so we'll see what happens. But on the left-hand side, Suntouch able to get a kill onto Reels under the tower with the help of his jungler Adapting. Adapting did use his ultimate, but nice special delivery, able to avoid Reels, and there's the peel with that epic uppercut. Dirge is dashing away. SK not able to find the turnaround.
Get anything out of that rotation. They rotate a lot over there, and really don't do much with it. Off the mark was Zeros with his ultimate and unable to do too much right side lane. Somehow Proxy has held up fairly well against Maniac. Obviously, he's had to go back a couple times, and he's dropped a lot of experience and gold to the tower, but all things told, no deaths just yet, but this is where it does get a bit hairy. Maniac, it's going to be very hard for Serket to contest this, as the red buff will come back up shortly. Maniac's still in position. He sees its respawn now, and he's just looking to zone.
I mean, the thing about Maniac's build, right, rushing into the Runeforged Hammer, he's going to trade very well with Proxy, but he's not that much of a damage threat right now because he doesn't have any penetration, he doesn't have any movement speed, he doesn't really have much physical power, just what he gets from his passive and that item. So really a very immobile target and needs to use his clear the path and his abilities to get the brunt of his damage off, which will still work against Proxy, but Proxy, I feel like, is pretty safe under these circumstances.
I'm really surprised to not see more of a contention out of this red buff here. I mean, they knew that it was there, and they knew that Mercury was tied up on the left side for a long time. Hog was available on Vamana, but they're going to go ahead and give this one away. It looks like his back camp's go to Mercury. They'll know when he's taking it. But Agni not in a position to contest this at all, and Adapting actually going to rotate over to the blue buff and try to pick this up for Proxy before the Vamana comes to contest it. So a little bit of passive play coming out from SK Gaming.
Yeah, they just weren't in the position with their mid laner and their jungler to really contest those camps, which is... honestly, I mean, that's a mistake because they do have an advantage in this lane. They should be looking to push that and extend it into the jungle and sort of make a recovery. Now, down 2 kills and down not too much gold, actually, which is important to note, right? So, like, 200 gold difference and 200 experience difference, Potato Boys should be further ahead.
Absolutely, they should. Yeah, I mean, especially with the start that they got with that first blood, they've given back a lot of that.
Well,
adapting looking for the ult in the mid lane, but not going to go ahead and let that rip Captain Twig just a bit too far back to press into. And well, a very slow paced game here. 2 kills in favor of the Potato Boys. Nothing for SK just yet, but as you mentioned, it's pretty much dead even, and the teams are farming away. But that's got to be to the Potato Boys' benefit here, is to have a Serket solo lane, which just shouldn't work.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, every moment in which Serket isn't losing, she's winning.
Right.
And... well, I mean, she's losing, but only very slowly. So in the later stages of the game and in the later team fights, you know, Serket could come out really big, and I feel like she's pretty good at killing Freya and Agni.
And yeah, Maniac hasn't built Greedy to kind of address that.
And he has to, honestly. Earthshaker coming out will not do any damage to that camp. I mean, I like the play from Arrow, just like, hey, can I get this camp? No, that's too bad. Because Earthshaker, given the way his team composition is, isn't that important at this phase.
Well, epic uppercut into Earthshaker should work.
Yeah, I'm not sure on the timing.
Yeah. But I would assume if you're Potato Boys and you play with Durgis, you probably know a lot about the timings of your abilities. Reels with a nice aggressive play on a Suntouch here, and it's going to work out for them at least for the moment. Can they get the rest of the kills? Suntouch realizes he has to move forward as Zeros is coming into the backside. Adapting takes a lot of damage from that Mjolnir's attunement into Berserker Barrage, but forced back as Zeros as the rotation from Durgis and Arrow is in time. Once again, in the right side lane, it's going to be Serket forced out. Maniac, got it down to about half HP, not going to actually go through with that recall. A lot of pressure on the left side, so Maniac continues to pull steadily ahead, but what's its next item kind of have to be here? He's going to finish off the boots, but then is it Fatalis? It's probably going to be the Witchblade, and it's just going to be very utility focused, but not very damage heavy through the mid game.
And that's a big problem, right? Because the real damage characters on SK Gaming, Freya and Agni, and they're both magical. So you need either Thor to get really big or Maniac to really be a little bit more damage focused in the middle lane. And in the middle lane, Twig taking a little bit of damage there. Down to about 400 health, so he's not going to be able to contest anything that doesn't end up happening, but right now it's just the red buff up for SK Gaming, and I don't think Potato Boys are really looking to invade.
So, like, the only thing that's... it's just so strange if Potato Boys wouldn't just put Mercury into the solo lane.
It just comes down to the player's god pool, really.
Yeah, player preference there, but... you know, by no stretch of the imagination is Proxy doing poorly here. Doing about as well as you could expect. There's a bit of a Gold Fury initiation here, but Potato Boy's not really going to be able to follow that up
so
with any real...
Suntouch jumps the wall, but because Ullr's jump does damage, he actually aggroes the Gold Fury and just takes like 400 damage from it.
Yep. Yeah, and as you can see, he's now back into the lane looking to recoup that. No Dev's Gloves out. I'm sorry, no Dev's Gloves out on the side of SK, and they're actually pretty lifesteal light, as it is, of course, Freya with the Fatalis. She does have passive lifesteal to her name. But, they'll have a hard time taking extended team fights, it looks like, currently against the Potato Boys. With that Dev Glove up onto the Uller, kind of sit the back line to plink away.
Yeah, Badgen now a little bit cut out, but he is a Geb, so he's got that tankiness, and Suntouch getting turned on hard. Thor up in the air, will be looking to come down and right into the mix, but Arrow does find Badgen, now turned around with the help of Captain Twig. Durgius could be in trouble on the left-hand side as Adapting is zoned out by Reels. Durgius falling asleep on the job again and taken down by Zeros.
Just way too lazy. Reels hits the banish onto Adapting, but there's not going to be any follow-up. It looks like their Zero's unable to get into position. Plus, there was an ultimate available. There has been a long rotation from Proxy here, but he's not going to be able to do too much to contest what appears to be a free Gold Fury. Maniac started up and plinking away at it. That Runeforge Hammer, he's in real no danger of dying. He's going to try to keep tanking it inside of that Flame Wave. Going to use his ultimate as well, and well, Adapting's going to try to set up for his ultimate as well, but look at Zero's position. He's like, nah, no you don't. Proxy leaps in, ultimate comes through, Potato Boy steal away! Adapting with the ultimate, and in comes Proxy Q. A lot of damage there, but it's not going to be enough to find the kill, but they do steal it away with a brilliant combination of the leap from Cirquet and the ultimate from Adapting, but Zeros is on the hunt. Under tower is Adapting, and that's free for them. Wow, what a contest.
They just sort of stacked their hand there and went for basically RNG, right?
Yeah.
And it's not true RNG, it just comes down to humans not being able to really predict that perfectly. So it's like, who just happened to have the better timing, and it turned out to be Adapting and Proxy there. I like the play. It was suicidal. We did see Proxy die, but it turns on the Gold Fury and keeps Potato Boys afloat.
Well, but they're in no rush to get Proxy online. I mean, that's kind of the story here, is that they would have put him in this. They would not have put him in the solo lane against the Vamana if they were really looking for him to have massive mid-game presence there. So okay with that death. And Reels does go down again in the left side lane. Suntouch just had his number here, it seems like.
Yeah, Suntouch been playing very well so far in the wild card, and honestly, I mean, in the Challengers Cup, there were times where Suntouch had a lot of trouble. He seemed easy to ban out, but now with the Uller in his repertoire, probably can still play a good Rom and Apollo, and he's been doing very well. Proxy on the right-hand side is getting dove a little bit, but not super worried about Maniac and just sitting under tower. Adapting now rotating over, but he's spotted by a ward, and I doubt Maniac is going to get caught. First of all, because he's got that Runeforge Hammer, and second of all, because he's up against double physical.
Yeah, percent damage, though. Percent damage is percent damage at the end of the day. Proxy, as you can see, using his, his enchant there, as it were. I guess it's really mostly
Madness?
It's Madness is what we call it, but it's most similar to kind of what you would see out of a Mesmerize or a kind of Confusion, if you will. But, he, using that ability to kind of clear waves and forced to use kind of different aspects of this kit that we don't normally see, but in theory, it's got a pretty decent match. Ooh, here comes a lane swap.
Yeah, lane swap. And I like this because I feel like Cirquet's going to be pretty good against Freya. Suntouch will just be farming because it's a... Actually, this could be a bad matchup for him even because Maniac's not going to take much damage from the tower and not going to take much damage from Suntouch. So Suntouch does need to be careful, and we'll see how Proxy does in the duel. And the other thing to mention is, where does Durgius go now? It feels like he's going to be having to roam a lot more and not really have a home lane. Yeah,
maybe try to blink initiate onto the Freya, just put her in a weird position against Proxy. Proxy, look how much damage. Look at the damage. One in-hand's going to do it. Reels is dead.
Wow! And Adapting with the cleanup. Why not, right? Just make sure you get the kill. Reels is so important for SK Gaming. He is the captain. He's one of the strongest players. He's probably overall their carry, and not just because he's the hunter. And just investing into these kills, perhaps trying to put him on tilt.
Right? I mean, she did a lot of damage there to him that he didn't really expect. The rank 2 ultimate as well, and that in-hand taking away a big chunk of HP. And not to mention that 2-level advantage on the side of Proxy Q, perhaps factoring in it most of all. Looking over at Uller in the right side lane, do you think Suntouch is going to build in a chin size now? Have they kind of tipped their hand by putting him over here?
I mean, honestly, with a Mercury and with a Cirquet, Shins is totally fine in this circumstance because you've got the big crit damage elsewhere on the team. You'll be able to carve through the mages. And that just has been a theme for today, I suppose. But I don't know. I mean, Maniac has been forced low a few times. He did need to use his ult for the sustain now in the right-hand lane. Actually, hold that thought. In the middle lane, Thor goes up in the air. Durgius does use his epic uppercut, but will be stunned out and will once again fall asleep on the job. Can Arrow provide enough disruption? Unlikely. It's not going to happen. Durgius does go down.
Adapting going to take the right side camps. Had a nice angle there to maybe try to counter-initiate, but will take the guaranteed XP instead. Left side. Proxy and Reels going head-to-head again. Reels fighting into an entire creep wave of Proxy. He's going to miss that leap as Take to the Skies is the Freya. That Valkyrie's Discretion coming out. There's the ultimate. And it should just take one dash on through and in hand, and now it's Proxy just needs to get out of dodge. He won't in time, but look at the chain explosion.
Proxy gets farm.
From that
it's
ultimate.
a win.
Yeah, Proxy does get more farm, though. You kind of call that one spot on. He just needs to progress his build, and Freya at this point with 4 deaths, they're okay giving one away to trade.
Yeah, you know what? I think, and I'm not entirely sure on this, but Reels did make the decision to beads out the last breath, which will not stop it from applying the poison to you.
Correct.
And I think he actually doomed himself because he left himself closer to the Circuit.
Right, you could have kicked him away, but by the same way, you could have kicked him closer to the tower. And granted, he does have the banish and everything to try to make some distance for himself, but it does go down nonetheless. And this Circuit has proven to be very effective, at least through the 13.5-minute mark in this game.
Yeah, and actually Proxy is electing to buy 2 separate crit items, so getting a Hidden Dagger on top of Short Sword, trying to sort of smooth out his power curve, right? So obviously getting a Deathbringer or a Rage will be a big boost to how much damage he can do, but getting there requires investing 1,200, 1,600 gold, so he doesn't want to do that straight up. Instead, we'll be building small crit items to just smooth things through.
Extra 670 for their 5% crit. Reel's in a bit of trouble here in the side lane. Adapting needs a couple more hits to finish it off. He'll need one major look, but he's going to get taken down under tower. Durgis will come through and secure that kill, but they give up a bit more than they probably were expecting there. Arrow does get bombed out, but only one will hit. And now Proxy's on top of Twig, but into the backline comes Zero, crashing down as a Thor. He's managed out by Durgis. Arrow trying to make his way out, but Twig is here. He's going to miss one bomb. Arrow to fall to Zeros now, as Twig's going to find himself in a bit of trouble. Circuit's there as well. Circuit's going to be trying to put the damage out onto Zeros, and well, Proxy maybe bit off more than he could chew. Twig is going to kill him with the bomb and flame dash combination. And well, what looked to be potentially a brilliant play for Proxy QQ does get turned around nicely by Twig. Great reactions on the side of the Agni.
Can we just get a whiteboard and start counting how many people Badger is saving as Geb? I mean, I don't. Brandon would be so mad right now because this Geb is just having such an effect on the game. And while Durgis does play a good Kumba, it's just the shield is so difficult to deal with, especially when it's maxed early.
Under tower right side, and some trouble perhaps is the Uller getting chased out by Maniac. Indeed, he will fall, and kind of what you talked about earlier coming to fruition is Maniac throws out a taunt as well for his trouble. And, well, you know, he just doesn't care about the towers at this stage of the game with a Rune Forge as well as a rank 2 Witchblade of that Curse Blade there. So he's plenty strong against physical damage.
And control of this game just seems to have instantly shifted over to SK as they hit a few itemization timings and were able to turn a few tights. And now here's a few fights. Here's the question. How do Potato Boys regain control? I mean, where's their damage source? Where do they get this farm? The right-hand side, that tower will go down. And how do they gank this Vamana? It feels like Potato Boys can't deal with what SK Gaming has in their pocket.
Yeah, I mean, they keep the Freya down, but it's going to be hard to keep her out. I mean, backpedal Freya just really, really good with Fatalis against this double assassin. You know, obviously Proxy can close that distance fairly well. It's going to be a bit more difficult for the Mercury, but, I mean, eventually Reels comes online, and it doesn't look like Potato Boys has a strong enough advantage in the early stages to really keep him out of that 35-minute mark Freya.
Yeah, and it's honestly, it's going to happen even sooner than that, right? You got the Fatalis and the Mono Grip, and that's when Freya is, like, usable in a fight.
Right.
And that's not that far away. I mean, looking at his GPM.
There's just nothing doing here on the side of Potato Boys about this Gold Fury. That Flame Dash doing a lot of damage in addition to just the pile-on from SK. All 5 members are here. It does free up a little bit of room for Uller to do his thing. But, and speaking of the Uller, it does look like it will most likely be the Chins, considering he has had enough gold to finish off Executioner for some time now and hasn't elected to do so. So he's going to be the one to deal with the Vamana in the later stages of the game.
Yeah, and I mean, that's important. You need a plan going into a Vamana to actually be able to kill him. But even then, Maniac has been playing the Vamana well, and he finds ways not to dive into the people who can kill them, which is just so important to do when you are that far ahead on Vamana.
Yeah, no brawlers as well likely to come out here anytime soon.
Unlikely, yeah.
But you do have the crit, at least the Rage Blade online for the Mercury Circuit. Sitting on should be a reasonable amount of gold in hand, about 800. So just a few hundred gold away from finishing off a Rage Blade of her own if she wants it, or saving up a bit more for that Deathbringer. But right now you can see Proxy. He has got one thing on his mind, and that is finding picks as he roams through the enemy jungle. Looking at Zeros now, and may have an opportunity here as Madness comes out dashing through, but not finding enough damage or any crits onto the targets that she was looking for.
I mean, the other thing to mention is Proxy just has criminally low GPM in this match, currently sitting at 354, Freya at 356. So the player that Potato Boys have invested a massive amount of effort into shutting down is still farming better than Proxy, and that's not good.
On 30 less creep kills as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot more going to the side of Cirquet, but not a lot coming out of it. Adapting in a bit of trouble here. Aegising out nicely. A lot of damage coming through. Earthshaker's going to hit Zeros, doing a lot of damage. Reels takes to the sky. Going to try to buzz some extra, but Zeros, he's going to be hard-pressed to dive. This tower's going to go in nonetheless on to Durgis. Durgis is going to be able to mez him out, not before Mjolnir's Attunement comes through, but here comes the answer from Potato Boys. Already down is Zeros, as well as Reels looking to be in a bit of trouble as he's in the back of this fight, and they're trying to find him. Potato Boys, there's a 3-man Banish Stone. Suntouch trying to make his way forward, leaping. Where's the Axe? There it is. He finds Reels in traffic, but the Agni Bombs are too big. Damage coming through. Proxy in a lot of trouble as well. Down he will fall, and the over pursuit from Potato Boys. They do save their Mercury, but they lose everything for it. And perhaps a Fire Giant for SK. No, they're going to try to take the tier 1 here, and they'll get it easy peasy, but they feel like they need to get more off of this Dia side at this stage in the game. With only adapting up, maybe a tier 2. Orange buff is going to go to the Mercury, and I like the idea here. Let's push forward. Let's get the tier 2. You see Reels falling in as well. Freya, obviously, not a great tower pusher, but with the Vamana in the mix, they're going to get plenty of physical damage out. And down will go the tower. One more in-hand for Badger should secure it here as it does go down. They peel back a bit too early, but get 2 towers off of a nice engagement and a misstep from Potato Boys.
I mean, the other thing I want to mention is just Twig has come out huge both today and yesterday, currently sitting 4-0-5, has that Warlock Sash and the Spear of the Magus. He's just able to do so much damage. And the big thing is, he's holding his meteors. He waits for Potato Boys to make the mistake to clump up and then bomb, 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 and he just unleashes so much damage. Currently sitting at 9,000 player damage, which is the third most in the game, as Vulcan is on top because of his free damage, or fake damage, and
Right, that
Vamana
fake
in
Vulcan
second.
damage.
Fake Vulcan damage.
Yeah, gotta be always look out for the fake damage. Let's talk about the charts here, and you can see exactly how this game is going. Now, hold that thought. Proxy does get banished out, and right into Valkyrie's discretion goes Reels, and he should survive that. But taking a look at our charts here, it's been a straight plummet since about that 15-minute mark.
Yeah.
9,000 experience and 5,500 gold in favor of SK Gaming.
It just feels like SK Gaming have a weak early game, and they're like, oh, all right, well, let's just not have a weak early game anymore, go into the mid game, and kind of just turn things around and kill everybody. SK Gaming doing so well after the initial difficult phases, which is also weird when you see Zeros on a character like Thor.
Yeah, but I think that Zeros he's done well enough for himself here. 3-1-4, been involved in 7 kills out of their 14. And you look over at the side of Mercury, and really only one play has come out where he stole that Gold Fury. Besides that, we haven't called Adapting's name that much. He's sitting at level 16. He's basically a bit behind Zeros and has nowhere near the same pressure on the map. And Proxy seems to have been doing plenty here to keep the team destabilized. It's the Mercury that I'm looking at and saying, why isn't he more involved? If not more involved, why isn't he hard farming and getting more GPM out of this, right? I mean, he's not even leading players even close in net worth. He's sitting down in the bottom 4 overall. So it's just not firing as Potato Boys wanted to.
Well, and part of it is who do you gank, right? In the mid lane, there's an Agni, and Twig has beads and Combat Blink.
Right.
At least now. In early, he got beads fairly early on, so very hard to gank. In the solo lane is Vamana, which not easy to gank either. And then they ganked Freya a lot, but it didn't do enough.
Right, so Rice, right? Like, find the farm.
Yeah.
Go steal farm away your Mercury. You're going to outcarry this game, but not from this position.
Yeah, exactly. Now, in this solo lane, a lot of the Potato Boys are there. They're looking for the tower, and Durgis is tanking it. And it looks like SK Gaming will just give this up in the left-hand lane, a bit of a fight between our duo laners, but Real is getting the advantage over the Circuit. Proxy does finally have that Rage online, but it's just too late.
Well, there's a counter warding coming out here by Arrow, and well, Arrow, he may have bit off a bit more than he can chew. Zeros uses his beads to get a cooldown reduction, and actually Arrow blocking himself off with that turret accidentally. Down he will fall. Gold Fury is up and available, and 2 members of Potato Boys are down. SK Gaming finding picks for free now.
Yeah, left tower going down to a Freya, which is just not usually what happens.
It ain't fast,
she has
that's
to.
for sure.
Yeah, it's not fast, but actually adapting on his way back in Valkyrie's discretion will be used defensively, and it's going to create enough room. Durgis trying to come through. Nice banish, and now turned around upon with the flame with huge damage coming out
300
from
a
SK.
shot from the Freya with that demonic grip online. The Witchblade coming out as well. She'll have that finished up. Curseblade is there. 10% movement and attack speed already on top of that. And Freya scales basically linearly off of attack speed up to the cap.
Yeah.
Now it's the the Gold Fury that's going to be falling easily in favor of the SK Boys, and that's going to be their second of the game.
Yeah, Gold Fury done right quick. Freya finally online, and with that Curse Blade, just not easy for Proxy to deal with. So now, in the long lane, he has a Mana that he can't kill. And the short lane, he has a Freya who kills him.
Right.
So now does he farm the middle lane?
Now he should be farming God kills. But, you know, that kind
It's kind of too late.
awkward offset on the crit, right? He doesn't have that Doesn't have the Deathbringer Rageblade online. You know, kind of elected for a more awkward build. Could have the Rageblade perhaps secured another kill there and gotten that Deathbringer a bit earlier, but Maniac looks dead to rights here. We'll see if they have enough. There's the ultimate from the Circuit. That's going to stop any of his healing coming out during the ultimate, but Circuit just not resilient enough as Maniac charges forward. Granted, he's not getting any HP back. There comes a regen just now kicking in, but takes a lot. Arrow with that ultimate in place onto Captain Twig. He's going to try to kite away, but the bombs are there. Gonna miss Arrow as in comes Duragis, and he's going to try to keep Twig out. There's a Thor ultimate onto the right side here where Sun Touch is going to be the benefit of a lot of damage from Zeros, but Zeros not going to be able to get too much out of this. There's the beads. There's the second Mueller's Entombment. That's enough to kill Sun Touch. Nice play there by Zeros.
Yeah, now between the two towers, Duragis in a lot of trouble, will fall asleep. Reels not going to actually take the kill, goes into the Valkyrie's Discretion, is looking for Arrow, so great prioritization. Duragis will not be able to wake up. They actually give it to Reels even.
Beautiful.
And that's really important because it's
Recovery
like, all right,
farm.
the late game, yeah, Recovery Farm, exactly. And now heading to the Fire Giant, Freya will be able to carve through that.
Even after a 1-4 start, 6-5 for Freya.
This team is just all about Reels.
Reels just decided it was time to don the backpack again here. 24 minutes into the game, the team playing right into it as well as SK picks up a Fire Giant, all 5 members ahead in net worth of anybody over on SK Gaming. Yes, that means that the Geb is out farming the Uller and the Mercury overall, and that is not a position you want to be in. Geb starting to itemize very, very aggressively against the team. There's the Emerald Talisman. Rank 2 is going to build into a Magi's Blessing as well, and is just looking for that unkillable frontliner with the Fire Giant buff on top. It's going to be an easy proposition. They're going to take a red buff here on the right side of the map as well, and you can see Potato Boys. Circuit and Mercury still over here on the left side looking to farm as SK takes away the map.
Honestly, just don't let Geb through. Badger has been playing it so well with the shields. I mean, he just uses them as health. Here you go, Maniac, you're being focused. Here's 600 health. Or, you know, and it's just been impossible for the Potato Boys to just carve through that. And now with the Cataclysms coming in the later stages of the game and the bombs that are starting to rain down from Agni now, sitting at 78 stacks on his Warlock Sash, and with that Soul Reaver done, Captain Twig doesn't need to use that much to force someone out of the fight.
You know, it's funny, right? When you look at SK Gaming and kind of Coast, the two teams coming out of the Pro League, similar play styles. Both of them relying very heavily on that Hunter role.
Yep.
Difference being, of course, that Reels is the captain of that team, where Shaggy Shank is not on the side of Coast, and Reels also hasn't really struggled to maintain his dangerousness, his scary factor, if you will, where Shaggy Shank no longer seems like this kind of dominant hunter that we expected out of him, seeing how the season opened, where Reels has continued to be the shining star in SK Gaming, just a tremendous player.
He has grown even.
And he's even, yeah, that's right, gotten better. And as Badger has continued to kind of be his normal old self, very strong presence in the lane, and Captain Twig has stepped it up as well as the team has continued to progress, but Reels just seems to be unstoppable. It's playing unconscious these days.
Well, the other thing is that, I mean, I think Twig had a lot of trouble throughout the Pro League season, but these last 2 games, Twig has been absolutely on
His
fire.
Agnis look phenomenal.
His Yanis was great too, so it's not even just a one-god thing. We did see the Yanis ban in this game, but it clearly was not enough, as Captain Twig is just doing so much damage. He's bursting people down. It's the decision-making of this player that is so impressive.
About 500 gold away from 2 Deathbringers. They need 500 on Mercury, about 500 on Circuit, and they'll have the Rageblade Deathbringer up for both, but they may lose a Phoenix before they get to that point, and that's where it gets really dangerous for them. I mean, this fight is basically a must-win for the Potato Boys. You see them jumping in. Sun Touch is going to be the one to lead the charge. They're just getting blown up already, and Downey does go to Reels, as Reels is pumping out tremendous damage. There comes the Valkyrie's Discretion as well. That's going to force everyone else. Sun Touch adapting in proxy. Back to the well. That's a free Phoenix. Even with your Hunter being the Freya, it's still enough damage. Even though she didn't put out much, she's going to leash it away now over to the side of Badger, and the team's going to pile in. You got to look for Zeros to be the one they're trying to peel here, as he does have the pen available, and the middle Phoenix is going to go down as well. That's 2 down, and only 3 members standing on the side of the Potato Boys, but SK Gaming not smelling blood just yet. They want the rest of the objectives.
Yeah, they want everything, and here's a paradox for you, Bart. The team with 2 assassins can't kill Freya.
Right.
That should not be happening. Like, their draft should be built to kill Freya, and it looks like it is, but it's just not happening in the later stages of the game, and it comes down to great play from Reels, great active usage, but he's not even got max rank actives. Sun Touch absolutely destroyed outside of the Phoenix, which is a good question. Why was he that far up? And this Phoenix will go down. Thor is up in the air just to provide some zoning, but Potato Boys know they have to defend their Titan.
Yeah, so they've holed up inside of the base here now, and SK looking to break the base. Captain Twig, he's got bombs available. He's got, it looks like, all 3 floating around his head now. So, well, it kind of just comes down to when SK wants to pick their point and move on in. It looks like they're going to fall back. They do have a couple thousand gold in hand, it looks like here. So they're going to go ahead and pick up their next set of items before looking to push in.
Yeah, that's over 10,000 gold just currently being spent by SK Gaming. So Now, with a team that just spent 10,000, actually, hold on a second, Captain Twig on the right-hand side will be forced to dash away after that last breath connect. He's going to be fine. So this team has 3 Phoenixes down. Their opponents just spent 10,000 gold, and they couldn't deal with them before the Phoenix were down. I have to say this game is almost done.
Yeah, look at the Bulwark of Hope coming out for Vamana. Clever
Why
stuff
not?
there. Yeah, just get basically unkillable. Your Magic's Blessing finished on Geb now. You're looking at a Bancroft's 2 Talon Trinket out for Freya. You're going to have a Witchblade being built into by Geb as well, and a Transcendence late game picked up by the Thor. Just flat damage.
Oh, yeah, massive amounts. It's something like 85 or an incredible amount. Even with only 3 stacks currently on 0, still very much worthwhile. And SK Gaming just has everything going for them right now. Last item. So I love the... Well, actually, I don't love it. Spear of the Magis picked up on Reels, and I like Spear Demonic Grip on Freya. I just don't like 2 spears on the same team.
Yeah.
It will give 15 extra penetration, which is nice, but I feel like they're just focusing the same target, so it's not super...
I would be looking for the Obsidian in this case just to burn down
Yeah.
the Titan a bit faster.
Yeah, exactly. But either way, it's going to be a lot of damage coming out from SK Gaming,
Big
and I don't think they'll have
single-target
too
damage,
much trouble burning down that Titan. Especially, I mean, this point, Captain Twig is a late-game Agni with a massive amount of magic power, currently sitting at 447. And when Agni dumps all 3 meteors, he's the 2nd highest damage ultimate mage in the game, behind Anubis, of course.
Right, well, yeah, no one comes close to Anubis when it comes to damage.
Yeah, he has to be that far ahead.
He's just really outclassed in every other aspect of your kit that you
Right.
want, so...
But damage is good.
Damage is good. Damage is good. Duragis, he's going to lose his Magi's here, but the team not going to try to progress in too much. Captain Twig actually takes a fair amount of
he
damage
kinda
from
got
that turret.
destroyed
He
there.
did not love that.
Outplayed.
Left side, Reels hits a solo kill and a Sun Touch. And, well, it feels like whoever's going to come up here and contest him is really just going to get it. Here comes Adapting. Cirquette's in the... Well, is here as well, but Reels... The team not even reacting to this one. They're going to give this one up to the captain to see if he can make something out of it. But now, with these 2 crit assassins on him, that should be enough. But the team is piling into the Titan as we speak, with no Mercury and Circuit here to help peel away. Just one final kill going away. The Potato Boys for SK Gaming takes down the Titan and the game, going 2-0 today so far against the rest of the field. SK Gaming, I believe if they win 3 games in the first week, it is very hard for them to not get an automatic bid into the playoffs.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult. It's sort of five wins, and you're just there.
You're in, yeah.
So they'd have to go like 1 and 2, and then there would be some tie breaks and stuff like that. But SK Gaming looking very good outside of the early game. Their early game
Not great.
seems bad, but after the first 5-10 minutes, they get rolling, they turn things around, and they're able to make really good plays off of their weaknesses and their strengths. So they're like, okay, we're strong over here. We're going to head over and convert our Vamana strength over to Reels and get him back in the game. And we're going to take a look at Captain Twig doing just that. Played very strong in the mid lane and did a great job keeping his Hunter player, Reels,
that
in the
early and
match.
often rotation coming out of Twig in here. We'll see it very well spelled out there. It's going to stun out 1, continue firing bombs. Does get a bit of damage from Proxy here, but watch as this one comes out. It's the bomb into the flame wave, I think, is exactly how this one does go down. There's the ultimate, but nicely shielded out. And Captain Twig now with the positioning is able to do some really gross stuff in this fight. And here comes... I believe Proxy tries to jump back in here, and he just dies to this flame wave. Brilliant reaction there from Captain Twig, and that's what we were looking for, guys. That's going to do it for our first 3 games of the day, as well as the commentary is concluding now for me and Kret. Coming up next, Brandon and F. Dot. Let's take a look at our overall scores, though. The standings in North America and Europe for the Wildcards. I'm sorry, just Europe, and there you see it. SK Gaming at 2-0, Coast 0-1. Agilitas 0-1, the Potato Boys at 1-1. Let's take a look at our schedule now for the rest of the day as well. That Kret and F. Dot, I'm sorry, that Mr. Brandon and F. Dot will be bringing to you. Obviously, much more round robin play here coming out of Europe, but that's going to do it for me and Kret. Thank you for tuning in, guys, and enjoy the remainder of your coverage. 3 more games to go today, so don't go anywhere. It'll all be here on the Smite Game channel. Much love, and we'll see you next time.